to another edition of Seamless Style, powered by Politics and Polaroids. I'm your host, Mr. Parker. Episode 81. We're winding down November, and I want to go ahead and get a jump start on the holiday season. Now I'm gonna do something slightly different, slightly off the beaten path of what I've done traditionally on Seamless Style when it comes to holiday season and holiday apparel. In the past, I've focused on apparel for holiday parties, which is a great thing. But what I want to focus on this particular season, holiday season, is not just the holiday party, the holidays in general, because there are other activities other than holiday parties for work, holiday parties for family. There are other activities other than holiday parties and holiday get-togethers. So what I want to do is I want to focus on apparel that encompasses the entire holiday season, various things, various activities, and certain world of Ralph Lauren apparel that complements those particular activities. So we're definitely going to tell a story today with the four rigs that I have for you, and they're all kind of there's a cohesiveness to it. I think you'll really enjoy it once we get through it. Let me speak real quick on the ensemble that I'm wearing. This would be a good ensemble for a more casual holiday get together or holiday party. I know Friendsgiving has been a big thing for maybe the past 10 years now. But Thanksgiving get together, or you know pre Christmas, or anything towards December 25th. Just friends getting together for drinks or whatever the case may be. This outfit is right there in line for those type of activities. So I'm wearing I actually have on a few pieces from Rugby and a few pieces from Blue Label. The tartan sweater is a Blue Label piece, shawl collar trimmed in suede here, leather buckle, leather elbow patches. Right up my alley. I have on a subtle herringbone, Columbia blue and white spread collar dress shirt, a red heraldic rep stripe bow tie, all three pieces by Polo Blue Label. The wool flannel trousers that I'm wearing are in a slim fit, charcoal gray with all over skull and bones. They are Rugby Ralph Lauren. The cable knit socks are Polo Ralph Lauren, and then the tartan dress slippers are also Rugby Ralph Lauren. If you go back to the most recent behind the scenes episode, I did a small feature on these shoes as well. And the herringbone tam, is also Polo Blue Label. So, like I said, this ensemble would be perfect once I put my watch on, of course. But this ensemble would be perfect if I was getting together with a few friends, to smoke a cigar, or just hanging out, drinking on some brandy or some whiskey or something like that, or maybe visiting my mom, or visiting my daughter and my grandson. So just a nice. This is a nice outfit for a casual outing. It's not too dressy. It's fairly simple, yet definitely festive and in the holiday spirit. All right. So, like I said, I got four rigs for you. It's definitely focused on holiday season and holiday traditions. We're going to tell a story here. All right. So without further ado, y'all ready? Me too. Let's go. So my dad and my uncle are probably two of the most macho men on the planet. So what we decided to do for this year's Thanksgiving was actually hunt for our food. So we went duck hunting. Now, being a Ralph Lauren guy and living the Ralph Lauren lifestyle, then obviously I had to put on something appropriate. So this is where this ensemble comes into play. I broke out a Nordic sweater in the oatmeal with snowflakes in the cream and the Rugby Royal, a little bit of wine and brown and green throughout the sweater, the crew neck sweater, as well as the matching snow beanie. Put a nice woven up under with a little bit of purple and tan and green in the sports shirt. I have my trusty barn coat with me, navy blue wool, heavy wool barn coat with a tan corduroy collar. My wine corduroy in the slim fit. And my trusty 8-inch herringbone shearling lined LL Bean boots. All right, and a nice pair of olive socks to complete the ensemble. I'm ready for the rugged outdoors. I'm ready to dredge through the wet soil and ground as we hunt for our Thanksgiving main course, which will be duck. This is going to be an amazing time. Love hunting. You keep what you kill, you eat what you kill. That's how we do it down south. So normally in end of usually March, early March, a friend of mine named Brian, we have a annual croquet match. However, we have not had it for the past 2 years due to the pandemic. So we decided to have our match in the fall. So we're going to have it this December 1st. Our annual croquet rivalry will resume. So I had to break out an appropriate ensemble. As you saw, we had the black monk straps, a nice pair of argyle socks with green, black, and red stitching to complement the Rugby Ralph Lauren red slim fit cords, a black cricket sweater by Rugby Ralph Lauren with a nice crest, centerpiece crest, cream chevron just around the neck. Because it's a little cool outside, I threw on a flannel shirt, buffalo checked, and a nice necktie with green heraldic just to pull everything together. And polo red extreme as our fragrance of choice. That croquet mallet that you see there is 2-in-1. The last time we played, Brian was able to defeat yours truly. Won't happen again. So this next ensemble is for a Christmas gathering. Now it's work related. However, it's not a formal dressing, but I do need to, I need to be me. I need to, stand out. I need to be outstanding. So I broke out the Ralph's Garage flight suit, the limited edition purple label flight suit. Now, limited edition is an understatement. They only made these for the models for the Bedford show for New York Fashion Week, which was about 4 years ago, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. But I broke that out because it's purple label, and it's a flight suit, but it's easily able to be dressed up. So instead of a typical white shirt, bow tie, etc., I went a little different. I went with holiday spirits in mind. So the Royal Stewart tartan scarf with the holiday patchwork work shirt. It has Royal Stewart tartan. It has Black Watch tartan. It has several different tartans from several different clans of Scots-Irish in the shirt. I did a black bow tie, black with white polka dot bow tie, just to complement the flight suit, as you just saw Ralph's Garage written across the back. And I did the Royal Stewart tartan wool purple label slippers and a nice fresh pair of red cable knit socks. Now finally we reach Christmas Eve, and my mother needs for me to come over that morning and chop some wood for the fire. So I broke out the Polo Ralph Lauren duck boots, 10-inch duck boots, shearling lined. Nice pair of jeans, nice pair of comfortable jeans. And I broke out the diamond quilted vest. I put that over a buffalo checked Rugby Ralph Lauren rugby shirt, outdoor style. It has the leather elbow patches. It has a sportsman patch on the left shoulder. And instead of doing a shirt with a tie, because it's cold outside, I want to be able to have range of motion and be able to move, because I got to swing that axe. So I decided to layer it with a nice blue label turtleneck. And I have my Ralph Lauren Harris Tweed Trapper driver, just in case it's extremely cold and I have to pull those flaps down to keep my ears warm, because once my ears get cold, that's it for me. I love the cold weather, but once my ears are freezing, that's it for me. I'm back in the house. So headed to Mom's to get her plenty of firewood so that we can have a nice Christmas Day breakfast or Christmas Day brunch. And later on we'll have Christmas dinner, or we may have a big dinner the following day. It just depends on how late brunch is and how long it takes for the aunts and the uncles and the cousins and everybody to get over. But I got to get over there Christmas Eve and cut down wood. But that is the Christmas week. That's another episode in the books. This particular holiday season, we focused on various holiday traditions, and we told a story. So, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I had a great time making it. Now I want to address something that I've been mulling over this for a while, and one of you guys mentioned something in episode 80 in reference to Ralph Lauren corporate or something to that effect, and I stepped out on a limb a little bit, and I kind of let a few things go. So I've decided I'm going to speak on it in full. For me, it's not a reflection of Ralph Lauren, the man, Ralph Lauren or his family, Ralph Lauren, the product, the brand, the lifestyle. It's just a reflection of people not being able to see the forest for the trees, and just general life decisions that everybody should just think before they make a decision, and that's me included. And you'll understand what I'm talking about when I'm finished here. Okay, so let's get started. I went to work for Ralph Lauren in June of 2014. I started as a sales associate on the sales floor. Quickly became one of the go-to guys, one of the go-to people in sales, to a point that members of management, when new people were hired, quite often they were sent to me for training. Not necessarily in-depth training, like training at point of sale, or any of the technical stuff like receiving, or anything that had to do with stock. That's never been my strongest point. I am proficient in it when it comes to the Ralph Lauren way. I have been trained and was trained well, but my strong points are going to always be around visual merchandising and selling. Okay, so a new person's hired. A lot of times, members of management, whether it be a ASM, a supervisor, or even a store manager, will send that person or those people to me and have me train them on the day-to-day things that we do on the sales floor: folding, recovery, replenishment, things of that nature. For the first two and a half years, it was a joy and a pleasure and a privilege to go to work. At that level, just like any other retail clothing brand, the pay was not great, or is not great. But I wasn't in it for the money. This was something I was in for the long haul. This was a career change from what I was doing previous, and I was all in. So it wasn't about the money. I've always known how to get money, make money, stretch money, and do the things that I wanted to do after doing the things that needed to be done. And at the time, I was a single father, and I had custody of 3 of my 4 kids, and I was making everything happen. Everything that needed to be done was done. There was food on the table. There was clothes on backs. Right? So, 2017, they decided to do a $2.5 million renovation of the store that I worked. So that included a lot of construction. So for 4 months at a time, maybe something like that, one section of the store was closed off while they did construction. So everything that was in women's came over to the men's side, and we only had half a store. And the guys every evening would come in and they would do construction on that side. It was a renovation. After that side was done, then they closed up the other side and did, so that's how it went. Once the actual construction was done, and there were certain other things that needed to be done as far as the Ralph Lauren way for a renovation and a new store, there were, I want to say, maybe 20 or maybe even 25 members of corporate that came down from the New Jersey office. At the time, there were 2 corporates in Ralph Lauren. There was corporate that served e-commerce and full retail. That's the one that's on Madison. That's the office building that's on Madison. And then there was corporate office that serviced Factory Outlet, which was based in New Jersey. So maybe 20 to 25 people from that corporate office came down to North Carolina to our store. They were down there because they needed to physically be there and see what needed to be done as far as merchandising, visual merchandising, back of house operations, etc. There were a few buyers who were there to see what the next quarter needed, the first quarter after the grand reopening needed to be like, as far as what merch was in the store. So there was a few of those days where I worked the evening shift and was there till maybe 11. And unbeknownst to me, um, when I walked in from a lunch break, which the store closed at 8 o'clock this day, for whatever reason, the store closed early. It may have been a Sunday, so maybe it closed at 6. I can't remember. Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was a Sunday and the mall closed at 6, and I went on lunch right at 6 or something like that. But I was scheduled till 9 or 10 o'clock. So unbeknownst to me, the folks from corporate came in as I was leaving out for lunch. So when I came back, I had people walking up to me that I had never met before in my life, never seen. Oh my God, Mr. Parker, I follow you on LinkedIn. You're amazing. Your style is impeccable. Some people were even asking for pictures. This, for me, was humbling. However, I do know my worth. I've always known my worth, no matter what field it's in. I've never been the type to be presumptuous or overconfident, but I'm definitely confident in what I know, and I'm definitely cognizant of what I don't know. So when it comes to Ralph Lauren, as far as being a stylist and having knowledge of the product and the brand and the lifestyle, I mean, I know who I am. So, but however, it was still very humbling. So, I smiled and I took pictures with a few people, and there was a few co-workers that kind of had the face, the gas face or whatever. A couple of snide remarks. Oh, please don't blow his head up any more than it already is. Now, people say things in jest. People say things to try to be comical or funny. Oh, I was just joking. I was just playing. But what you have to understand is that if you have people from corporate office that are coming for a visit, and they only know what they see on social media of me, which is visual, then you saying something like that could go to somebody and register in a different way than how you may have meant it. But I took it with a grain of salt. I said the right things. Oh, I'm humbled by this. I would never. Stuff like that doesn't go to, like. I don't have a big head. Like, I tried to brush it off, but it's stuck. It's stuck. I definitely remember who said it, how it came across, all of that, right? So it's something that registered, and I definitely kept it right here. All right. Fast forward, store grand opening. It was a wonderful Saturday. We store grand reopening. Wonderful Saturday. Store was packed. We made a truckload of money for the company. It was great, right? Fast forward a couple of months. There was, let me backtrack. We did not move women's to the men's side. There was an opening about 6 stores down, and we rented it out temporarily and moved women's down there. That's what we did. Because we wouldn't have had enough room. That's right. We wouldn't have had enough room to have women's and men's and kids in the men's department. So that's what we did. And then when we switched to, once the women's side was done, we moved men's over to women's side and closed the men's side and did the construction. All right, so fast forward. We took women's and moved it back up to the main store. But we kept this space that was 6 stores down, and corporate ended up putting a Big and Tall in there. So Big and Tall needed management. So they promoted 2 people. At the time, I was men's champion, which is like it's a step below supervisor. There's no pay incentive, no raise. It's just a title. Um, but I was men's champion. There was a women's champion, and there was an operations champion. They promoted the operations champion and the women's champion to be selling managers at Big and Tall. Now, the order of hierarchy is supervisor, selling manager, ASM, which is an assistant manager, and then GM. So, selling manager is actually a step above supervisor. They promoted the women's champion and the operations manager champion to be selling managers at men's Big and Tall. I wasn't tripping. I had already been passed over 3 or 4 times for open supervisor positions, as well as a couple of other people that should have gotten those positions as well. A couple of those people actually ended up leaving. That's a whole nother story that's not directly related to me, so I'm not going to speak on it. The operations champion did not want to commit to the 40 hours a week that she would have to work as a selling manager. So she did the job for like a week and then turned it down. Said, no, I need to go back to operations manager. Operations champion. I can't do the selling manager position. So that's when I was approached to be selling manager. And the store GM approached me on the sales floor, by the way. It didn't take me to the back and have a formal meeting. He just approached me on the sales floor and asked if I'd be interested in being the selling manager at Big and Tall. It was 40 hours a week. I'd be available for a bonus if we made bonus, but there was no pay rate, no pay raise. I'm already working here. It's already not about the money for me. If it was about the money for me, I'd never step in retail. There's no money in it on certain levels, especially the ground levels. So of course I took the position. Now what that did mean that I would have to be trained to get more proficient in back of house duties. Not my favorite thing to do, but hey, it's cool, no problem. This is just another thing to add to my catalog. It's just another stepping stone for me to get where I want to be within the company. So I took the position, and there are 2 selling managers. Actually, it's supposed to be 3. It was 2 selling managers, me and another person, and we had 8 employees. They wanted us to have 12. When I got there, we originally only had 5. Between me and the other selling manager, more people started wanting to work at Big and Tall permanently. See, initially, nobody wanted to go to Big and Tall and work. If somebody part-time would come in and they'd say, hey, such and such, we need you to work Big and Tall today, you can see their face drop. Big and Tall had I don't know what to call it. I think we called it a prison floor, but it was just this hard concrete floor. It was terrible on the feet. There was no Ralph Lauren aesthetics done within the store. We weren't allowed to use rigs because all of the clothing was Big and Tall, even though I was able to put rigs together on the natural size rigs. They wouldn't let us do that. All we had was floor fixtures and a few pictures that we could put up above certain wall fixtures. But the wall was painted institution green, that really light, the aesthetics were horrible. There was a Ralph Lauren sign above, but there was no sign that said Big and Tall. There was no sign outside that said Big and Tall. So the entire year that I worked at that store, up until the last day I worked at that store, we would have people coming in all the time. Oh, I didn't know there was a Big and Tall here. Oh, I didn't know y'all were here. So imagine the type of money we missed out on. Although as that pop-up store per se, we made over $1 million within a year in that store. So I say that to say, between me and the other selling manager, we got it popping. I mean, we took lemons and made Arnold Palmer's. We got it popping. We had it to the point where, especially some of the younger sales associates wanted to come down there and work. We had several sales associates that went to members of management and said, "Hey, can I get permanently transferred to Big and Tall?" Reason being, we had a wonderful environment to work in. We had come from the other store as sales associates, so we understood how to we better understood. We weren't too far detached from being sales associates, so we kind of understood how to treat sales associates. So we didn't have a problem delegating duties, but we didn't talk at anyone. We talked to people. We trained people. We elevated people as far as the brand is concerned, and day-to-day duties and things of that nature. That's the type of selling managers we were, because initially that's the type of managers that we had when we first came into the company to train us. Um, so yeah, we had a good working environment, and we if work was to a minimum that day, if the store was nice and recovered, it wasn't a lot of folding that needed to be done. The truck had been unloaded, and stock was on the floor, and maybe we didn't have any customers. We'd stand there and have a conversation, no problem. But when a customer came in, we stopped what we were doing and we went to work. If there was work to be done, we did our work. If there was not work to be done, we relaxed. We didn't, there weren't cell phones on the floor. There wasn't anything out of the ordinary. We just didn't browbeat our employees. And at this point, there were new faces that had been brought in from outside of the company as members of management in the main location that maybe didn't understand the Ralph Lauren aesthetic, the Ralph Lauren lifestyle, the Ralph Lauren brand, and how it is working for Ralph Lauren as a company throughout. Because I know a lot of people that work for Ralph Lauren. A lot, all over the country and overseas. And where I worked was an anomaly. It was not the norm. So, a few months into my selling manager career at Big and Tall, and I come to work on a Monday. I'm scheduled 1 to 10. The other selling manager, that person was scheduled 9 to 6. That's usually how it worked. Um, I came in at 2, and she says to me, um, "Did you know we had a third selling manager that was hired?" I was like, "No." And no sooner than I said that, this stranger walks through the main door, and she was the newest selling manager. She was from one of the New Jersey locations. She had transferred down here and got. Uh, she had transferred down here to work as a selling manager. So the GM comes in the next day. "Man, I'm sorry. I can't believe I didn't tell you." "Yeah, no, you didn't. You didn't tell us." How do you not tell your 2 selling managers that a third selling manager has been hired and he or she will be here on this day? That that's something to this day that still, I'm not gonna say it doesn't sit well with me. It was just weird. It was just really weird. All right, so this new person, the very next day, her and I worked together the same shift. There was some type of scheduling conflict or something. I'm not sure, but we worked together. So we came in about the same time. So I unlocked, alarm, went back, clocked in, etc. Boom. Let's get it. Oh, counted the save, all of the normal duties. Counting the drawer, and she's telling me how to count the drawer and what I should do when I come in. So finally, after about 5 minutes of this, I said, I'm not trying to be funny or disrespectful, but are there different levels of selling manager that I don't maybe know? She's like, well, no, selling managers are selling. I was like, okay, so I've been doing this for about 6 months now. I know what I do when I come in, and I know what I do when it's time to close. I got it. I appreciate it, but I got it. So definitely started off on the wrong foot. Oh, no. I didn't start off on the wrong foot with her. She started off on the wrong foot with me because regardless of where you came from and what your duties were there, or what your title was there, I've been here at this store longer than you. This store. And bottom line is we're equal. We're colleagues. You're not my manager, I'm not yours. If I did need advice or assistance, I will definitely come to you. I'm never too proud to say, hey, I don't know how to do something. Can you know? But for this particular conversation, that wasn't the case. So I'm not sure exactly what you're doing or what you think this is, but nah. So I'll just say real quick, when it comes to working in retail, having knowledge of what you're selling, when it comes to fashion, dressing well, those things are very important. Communication, very important. I would tell anybody this. The main quality or the top quality or trait to have is being able to know and read people. Okay? That's the main thing. It'll save you a lot of time, it'll save you a lot of headache if you know how to read people. That said, first day, ever since that conversation, I wasn't feeling this chick. I wasn't feeling it. And because I'm not the type of person to sugarcoat, when certain other members of management say, oh, hey, what do you think of? Not my cup of tea. I didn't say I ain't like her, I hate her, I wish the bitch was dead. I ain't say nothing like that. But I definitely, she's not my cup of tea. I'm not a fan at all. And I'm not sure how many members of management there were, but 9 times out of 10, eventually every manager said they agreed with me. They may not have said it on day one or day two. A matter of fact, I remember a couple of people said, "Oh, come on, Mike, you got to give her a chance. She just got here." But okay, no problem. I can work with anybody. I've worked with people that I've wanted to punch in the face my entire working career. It's no problem to work with people. I can work with anybody. You asked me a question, I told you she's not my cup of tea. She is not my cup of tea, and I am not a fan. I'm not here to do any harm or any foul. A couple weeks later, and I apologize, but I can't remember the details or the specifics of the conversation. But something was said in reference to the store, reference about the GM. Something was said by this new chick to me, directly to me, about the GM. So I went and asked him about it, or questioned him, or relayed it, or whatever it was. Whatever it was, it wasn't anything derogatory. It wasn't something that was, oh, he's a sword swallower. It wasn't anything like that. Um, but I went and questioned or relayed or whatever it was, because I think it was work related, whatever it was. So this chick comes back down to the store after her lunch sometime later in the afternoon, and was like, and this was on the sales floor. Hey man, why would you go tell Bo this, that, and the other? I told you this, that, and the third. I didn't, and I was like, oh, because there were 2 customers in the store, and I had 3 of my employees in the store. So I cut her off. I said, whoa. I'm not sure who you think you're talking to, but you're not going to talk to me like that in any aspect, especially not on my sales floor. You're not going to do that. You can go back up there, but you're not going to talk to me like that. And she said something else, and I said something. I think I said something to the effect of, you heard what the fuck I said. Something to that effect. So long story short, she ended up becoming the supervisor up at the main store, and they promoted a gentleman to being selling manager down there with us. So the three of us were working and training him and the sales staff, and we like our rotation was strong. Uh, Obviously, he wasn't as strong of a selling manager as we were because he hadn't worked with the company as long, um, and he had some training he needed to get through or whatever. Um, but he did a good job. He did a good job for the time that he was there. Um, so we got through Black Friday, we got through the holiday season, and 20 that was 20, yeah. So we enter in 2019. We get through the rest of winter, spring comes up. Um, March, March or April. I think it was April. Um, I had started thinking about starting to do some of the things that I wanted to do when I first started working for the company that I couldn't do because of the level I was on, right? So one thing in particular was when I first started, I wanted to volunteer to work the US Open. So I went to my store manager on it, and he informed me that they only hire members of management to work the US Open. I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool, got it. So fast forward back to April 2019, I'm a member of management. So I went to him again, and he expressed to me, he's like, I should have been more clear. I apologize. I should have been more clear uh, when you asked me that a couple of years back. So ASMs and GMs are the only members of management. Reason being, selling managers, supervisors, and selling managers are still hourly wage management, and you end up working 60 to 80 hours a week doing the U.S. Open. And for 2 weeks, they don't want to pay all of that overtime. They rather put salaried managers in those positions. I said, okay, cool, man, say no more. But that ain't work for me. I'm a little more ambitious than that. And because at this point, there was an open door policy with anybody, and I can't speak for everybody else. I'm speaking for me. I had an open door policy with the DM, who at the time wasn't my favorite, excuse me, wasn't my most favorite person in the world. But I had an open door policy with her. I had an open door policy with the regional manager, which is her boss. And I had an open door policy. I had open door policies with quite a few people, all the way up to a particular senior vice president. So that particular senior vice president, I emailed from the manager portal email address. And I emailed her and I said, hey, listen, I really want to talk to you. I'm off tomorrow. Can you call me tomorrow? Here's my number. Caveat, it's nothing negative, and it's nothing pertaining to anything about our stores here. It has nothing to do with any of that. So she called me. She called me about 4 o'clock that evening, and we talked for a good hour. And I told her the reason I wanted her to call me was because I was informed by the GM that as a selling manager, I would not be considered to work the US Open. However, I wanted to come to her because I don't have to even get paid. I want the experience. So uh, if we could do something where it was a paid vacation, or if I was just on vacation, I don't care about the money. I don't care about the money. I work 80 hours, 100 hours a week for the 2 weeks of the US Open, and y'all ain't got to pay me shit. I want the experience. I mean, we talking New York, we talking one of the 4 major tennis tournaments, and we talking about Ralph Lauren. Come on, dog. Like, I don't care nothing about the money. So, you know, she was like, let me see what I can do. I don't know, it may be too late, but let me talk to a few people, see what I can come up with, and if we can make it happen, we'll definitely make it happen. As as Bo did tell you, they usually don't like to send anybody's salary there. But I know you well enough to know that you passionate and it's about you passionate about wanting to do this, and I see what I can figure out if anything. I won't make no promises, etc., etc. So that was cool, and then we talked a little while longer. Now, mind you, this is a person that when I went to the town hall meeting in New York City, which in essence I wasn't even supposed to be there because only a members of management from our store could go to could get the proper channels done, but I had a member of management do it for me. So because I was going to be in New York during Fashion Week, so and this particular person is this particular SVP is the came up to me and introduced me to Ralph Lauren after the town hall meeting because they knew I would cherish that moment. Um, this particular person put me in the manager spotlight on the management portal that's throughout out the company. Put me on the management spotlight because of the like for the most part, give or take a few people here and there, I'm a one of one when it comes to elevating the brand as far as day to day style and attire when working for Ralph Lauren, especially but not limited to uh, factory outlet. You know, when they switched up, when I first started working there, you could pretty much wear anything as long as it was Ralph Lauren. Like I elevated sweats and wore sweat joggers to work. Shorts and with blazers was something that nobody around here had seen before until I started like so. But then they switched the uniform to a mostly navy base, so navy tops, khakis or jeans or navy pants, and like that put a that made the aesthetics of the workers look 10 times worse. But I still, me being me, like you know what I mean. So, yeah, just a lot of different stuff going on as far as my popularity or whatever throughout the company, and it was like like I said, it was humbling, but I took it with a grain of salt. I still ain't where I want to be, so I'm still motivated. I'm still pushing. All of this is great, and I use it to my advantage, but I'm still pushing, right? So, had the conversation. Went to work the next day. As soon as I got to work, I was at work 20 minutes. The store manager and the DM walk in, and they want to have a conversation with me. So we walk up to the main store and go into the office. No sooner than I sit down, I start getting a barrage of questions and looks and borderline accusations. They felt a way about me talking to the SVP about anything, like I went behind their back. No, I talked to you the other day, but you aren't in a position to make a decision. Did she tell y'all what we talked about? Like, I'm not understanding what's going on here. And then this came up. Oh, we're hearing this, and you're not doing this, and you do this a lot. And, well, where are you hearing that from? I'm not understanding where you're hearing these things from. Well, your colleagues are so what you're telling me is that the other two managers are saying that they're doing a great job, but I'm doing this, that, and the third. Okay. For some reason, um, I'm not gonna say I totally believed it, but I probably should have completely dismissed it, and I didn't. So at the end of the conversation, what came up was, "Hey, listen, we thinking maybe you should come back up here as men's champion." I said, "I think that's a hell of an idea. I think that's a great idea because in my mind, y'all ain't paying me to do none of this shit." And I don't know if you paying anybody, if you gave anybody else a raise or not, but you didn't give me one. You didn't give me selling manager hourly wage, but you working me like a selling manager dog. I'm cool. I can yes, absolutely. Let me come back up. All right. So I came back up to that was maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that, the Thursday. By that Sunday, I was back up at the main location, and I was back the men's champion. And I was definitely pleased with that. I was definitely pleased with that. A few of the employees at Big and Tall no longer wanted to be there. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Talk to your managers. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Fast forward. Came in one morning. One of the ASMs was gung ho about a promotion. The promotion was super tired. But I giggled, me and somebody else, and they got upset. No problem, no problem. I apologized, right? Another ASM came in a few hours later, and me and this ASM were like this. And we are still to this day, actually, as far as I know, unless it's an act. Came in, another ASM came. What did you do to such and such? Why? She got an attitude. What'd you do? Oh, this, that, and the third happened. I told her what happened, whatever, blah, 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 right? Maybe about an hour after that, I was asked to do something that was really stupid. Can't remember what it was, but I was asked to do something that was really stupid. And I questioned it. And instead of explaining why I was asked to do this, that same ASM was like, so you just going to disrespect all of your managers today, Mike? Is that what you're going to do? I snapped. I walked to the back, grabbed my bag, clocked out, came out to the front. That same ASM, what's wrong with you? What's your problem? I said, you my fucking problem. Opened my bag so they can look and see that I didn't steal anything. That was the norm. Anytime you have a bag, whatever, that's what we do. So I cussed her out, walked out. The alarm went off. I still had the fitting room key. I took the key out and threw it just like we always do whenever we walk out of the store and accidentally have the fitting room key. And I ain't come back. The GM was on vacation at the time. He came back that Monday. He called me to get my side of the store. I told him the same way I told y'all what happened. And this asshole put me in the system as no rehire. Put me in the system as no rehire. Was my circumstances and situations a non-rehireable offense? Hell no. Do they have that right to put me in there? Yeah, if that's what you want to do. But I think situations are situational. And if you think about the level of toxicity that store was, the reason I was able to succeed and have sales associates want to work for me, for us at Big and Tall, is because the culture at the main store was management against sales associates, management versus sales associates. And some people don't know how to maneuver that when they're in management. They end up talking about this person behind their back to this person, and this person behind their back to this person. And it's just a huge mess of bullshit, right? But just to make a point, the day I left was my partner's last day anyway. He was a supervisor. Another supervisor, she ended up quitting a week later. An ASM, the one that I had apologized to earlier, she turned her 2 weeks notice in the following week and then only worked 1 week because she quit because her and the GM got into it. And then the GM got fired 3 weeks later. So within a month, 4 members of management were gone after I left. Not to say that I was the glue holding everything together. That's not my point. But my point is that I was important to other things that went on besides what got sold, or how the rigs looked. So now I'm at a point when we talk about today and all the turnover that has went on throughout the company. The DM that was my DM the entire time I was there, she's no longer there. The regional is no longer the regional for that particular region. He has Florida. They brought in a woman from a Virginia location to be the GM of the main store after the GM that I worked under was fired. And she quit with no notice. Maybe after, I don't know, maybe she was there a year. The current GM, I met with him. He desperately wants me back. But as of right now, he can't seem to get anybody to take the no rehire off. So that's where we stand today. It's a computer. I don't believe it can't be taken off. I just believe the right person hasn't been talked to in reference to Mr. Parker, because I'm a one of one. I'm an entity. I'm not the norm. I'm not the norm. You can't find five people working for the Ralph Lauren that do it how I do it. So when I say that this vlog, Seamless Style, is therapy for me, that's one of the main priorities and main reasons why I say that. Because it's definitely therapeutic for me to sit here with you guys and talk about these clothes and style them, and just for me it's calming, it's soothing. All right. Anyway, long-winded like my youngest son, but that was something I wanted to share with y'all. I've been wanting to share that with y'all for a while, so I'm glad I was able to share it with you. And you can get in the comment section and say whatever you feel like you need to say. I will say that at the end of the day, I made the wrong decision. I should have went back to the back and counted to 10 or 100, or drank a cup of water, or told them, hey, I need to step out the store for a minute, and you know what I mean? I should have brought it down, as opposed to saying, you know what, because at the end that kind of hurt me and my momentum. It hasn't shown to necessarily hurt anybody else per se. But get in the comment section and let me know y'all thoughts, man. We family here, so feel free to speak it how you speak it. All right, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and tell a friend, because we here. Artists paint pictures, haters, they paint narratives. So don't be no hater. All right, have a good one.